Welcome back to the show, everybody. Boy, am I happy today, because although I've had a great Brat summer, spooky season is finally here. Spirit Halloween stores are officially open. Starbucks is bombarding me with pumpkin spice ads.
Today is the start of the pumpkin spice latte season.
There's Halloween candy in every grocery store, which I will buy and then keep for myself, like I do every year, and I can finally decorate my place with pumpkins and ghouls. It's never too early for spooky season here at Horror Culture, and to celebrate this wonderful time of year, today we're gonna be talking about one of my favorites and what is arguably the best anthology movie ever made, 1982's Creepshow. Creepshow is pretty special to me. It's one of those movies that got me into horror, and I watch it every year around Halloween. It's endlessly rewatchable. I'm already a sucker for anthology films, especially around that time of year, because instead of having to choose a specific horror movie with a specific horror genre, you can have multiple for the price of one. How great is that? Monsters, little alien goblins, evil pumpkins, werewolves, zombie children, clowns, cults, and a hot, bloodthirsty siren? It's fun, and the best part is, if you don't enjoy a specific segment, you can just skip to the next one. But that's the thing with Creepshow, it doesn't have a weaker segment, at least in my opinion. I mean, everybody seems to have a different favorite one, and they're all great in their own way, which isn't too surprising, seeing how this was written by Stephen King and directed by George Romero. It's hard to imagine a more iconic team-up than these two, especially at the time when King was writing his best material and Romero was, you know, still making good movies before he eventually stopped doing that.
Fuck.
Rest in peace, Jordi. So Creepshow is very obviously a love letter to EC Comics from the 50s, who published horror comics such as Vault of Horror and, of course, Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, hello, kiddies.
And although there were movie adaptations of those in the 70s, they just, they weren't as good as this. Creepshow really set the standard for horror anthologies, and if anything, they were even more faithful than the actual adaptations. They really nailed the comic style with the colors, the animation, everything. Creepshow walked so Ang Lee's Hulk could run straight into a wall and break its neck. Fun fact, EC Comics was eventually shut down because people complained about the harmful effects these horror comics had on children.
The violence caused the comic code to shut those boys down eventually.
Then, years later, they started banning movies because of their harmful effects on children. And years after that, they started boycotting video games, thinking those would turn kids into mass shooters. It's a never-ending cycle of fear-mongering, despite still having no concrete evidence that these things are in fact harmful for kids. Oh hey, what's that sticking out of this lady here? Oh, it's a broom. She's got a broom up her ass.
Come on, guys, loosen up.
Not enough about that, let's get back to the movie. Just like any good anthology, Creepshow has a wraparound segment, and I almost count it as the unofficial 6th segment. It is very short, but oh so good. It opens with America's greatest mustache and greatest ass, the one and only Tom Atkins. Although we unfortunately get neither in this film, and he finds out his son has been reading those damn horror comics. So he does what any good father would do in that situation, smacks the shit out of him, then grabs a beer and proceeds to deliver one of the greatest lines in movie history.
That's why God made fathers, babe. That's why God made fathers.
Amen. Upstairs, as the little kid is wishing for his dad to rot in hell,
I hope you rot in hell.
he's visited by a creep in the window called the Creep. Fitting name. And although his screen time is very limited, I love this thing to death. I'm glad they went with this design. Of course, the hosts from the comics just look like ugly guys, but I, for one, prefer my rotting ghouls. It's just spookier. This kid is played by Stephen King's son, by the way, who went on to become a famous author as well. Like, this little fella wrote The Black Phone, which became a huge movie 39 years later. Isn't that weird? But as for being an actor, well, he's about as good as his dad in the movie. Yeah. Anyway, the wraparound segment ends with him stabbing a voodoo doll he ordered from the comic book, which kills his dad. Sweet, sweet revenge. As simple as this is, I think the wraparound segment is wonderful, and it has a spooky jack-o'-lantern, so that's fun. Now here's something else I love about Creepshow, the animation. It's very pretty, the art style is wonderful, and won't you look at that, it brings us right into the first story of the movie, called Father's Day, which, you guessed it, takes place on Mother's Day. Wait, no, I meant Father's Day. Sorry, my bad. At the annual Grantham family dinner reunion with these uptight rich assholes that all hate each other.
You're such a hog.
I want my dinner. I'm hungry.
I don't even like him.
And joining them is this lady's new husband, Hank, played by the one and only Ed Harris, who's just so fucking hilarious in this. I don't know what kind of direction he received to pull off this performance, but it's something else. It's like he's trying to act cool, but also act like a complete buffoon. Okay. From what I understand, Ed Harris did not care at all for this. He just showed up as a favor for George.
Well, I remember at Creepshow was doing some kind of goofy dance and then falling in a grave and getting killed with gravestone falling on my head or whatever. And it was really just a favor for George. I don't think I was there too long, you know. It really was, sure, George, I'll come see you.
Which makes his performance even better. Like, what's he doing here? What is he doing with his hands? What does that mean? I love it. Anyways, back to the family dinner, just in time for the spooky story of the night, the story of how Aunt Bedelia killed her dad on Father's Day.
Cass hasn't told you about dotty old great Aunt Bedelia, the patriarch of our clan?
Now, Nathan Grantham is a man of simple taste. The guy just wants his cake.
Where's my cake? You promised me my cake! Where's my cake?
Dude just wants to eat cake, don't we all? But he's such an asshole that instead of getting cake, he gets an ashtray to the face. What a story, huh, Ed? Ed? You in there, buddy? Hello? So ever since this little incident, every year on Father's Day, Bedelia visits her father's grave and just, I don't know, kind of yells at him for a little while.
Bootlegger, kill a murder! I want my cake, Bedelia! You bitch! You called me a bitch!
But this time, old Nate seems less dead than usual.
What the fuck?
Now, to this day, I'm still not sure whether the spilled whiskey is what brought him back to life, or if he just decided after 7 years that now was the moment to get out of there and go get his cake. But in any case, he's back and on a murderous rampage. Pretty straightforward. We get choking, dead body jump scare, neck snap, and mind powers? I didn't know that was a thing he could do, but sure, okay, why not? He seems pretty happy about it. Oh, and once again, Ed Harris is just acting so weird. Like, he's so incredibly relaxed about this whole thing. In the graphic novel adaptation of the movie, Hank is scared shitless, yelling stuff like, "The headstone! It moved! Good lord! No!" But here, Ed Harris is like, "Oh, a tombstone. It moved on its own. Huh, that's strange. Oh, a dead woman. That's a dead lady here. That's odd. Whew, what a day, what a day. Well, maybe I should get out of there before this thing falls on my face or something." You idiot! Now, this zombie, it's pretty creepy, but calm down. Don't lose your head. Oh.
Happy Father's Day!
Alright, hot take alert. Possibly. Yeah, this one's my favorite of the bunch. I just love Father's Day to death. Everything works about it. I love the spooky atmosphere, the graveyard, that sweet, sweet fog machine, and Zombie Nate is my favorite zombie of all time. Sorry, Tarman. Sorry, Bicycle Girl. I'm sorry, little zombie child who stabs her mommy. There's so many great zombies out there, but Nate takes the cake for me. Literally. I especially love the iconic shot of him coming out of the grave with bright neon colors and fog coming out of the ground. It's the perfect, classic, old-school rotting ghoul, and I don't know what kind of effects they used for his voice, but I love the way it sounds. It's almost as raspy as this lady's voice.
Pass those scones, Cass. You're such a hog.
So yeah, Nate is great, but the unexpected highlight of Father's Day is the characters. Yeah, everybody's an asshole, but they're so incredibly memorable and quotable. Obviously, Ed Harris is absurdly entertaining with his sweet dance moves and peculiar facial expressions, but this guy also kinda steals the show. He kinda reminds me of, what's his name? Kieran Culkin in Succession. Just an obnoxious little prick that you kinda love to hate.
You go look for her.
Richard, I'm scared and it's dark out there.
Look, I just want to get another bottle of wine, okay?
And the ironic final twist with the cake is just chef's kiss. Or baker's kiss. Shut up! Father's Day is the perfect way to open Creepshow. It has just the right balance of comedy and horror, and plenty of memorable moments. Our next tale is called The Lonesome Death of Jordi Verrill. This one's very straightforward. A meteor crashes on Jordi Verrill's farmhouse.
Holy old Jesus!
He touches it. And then moss starts growing on him until he becomes a weed monster. But not the fun kind of weed. No, it's more like the alien grass type. So his only way out is to shoot himself in the head with a shotgun. Which is horribly depressing, and mind you, this segment also has scenes like this.
Meteor ship!
And this. Yeah, remember when I talked about balancing comedy and horror? Well, here they did not. The Lonesome Death of Jordi Verrill is by far the silliest tale of Creepshow, and this inevitably brings me to talk about Stephen King's peculiar performance. Yeah, not only is this segment based on King's short story, Weeds, again not the fun kind, but George Romero also wanted him to act in it as well. And of course, this casting choice remains debatable for many. Now, I must have seen Creepshow about 20 times at this point, and I used to not like this segment so much. I was always impatient to get to the next one, but just like the alien weeds, it grew on me. I think The Lonesome Death of Jordi Verrill is a banger, a one-man show that's like a cartoon, if a cartoon ended with a horrific suicide at the end. Yeah, King's acting is ridiculous, it's over the top, it always borders on cringe, but never quite crosses the line.
And of course, critics came back and said, well, this is not a very subtle performance. And it's not supposed to be. I mean, it's supposed to be a cartoon. It basically is a cartoon.
I just love watching this man go on with his day as if nothing happened. Despite moss fucking growing out of his body, nah, he just sits there watching wrestling and chugging wine. Sounds like my typical Monday evening. And then he makes this disgusting looking vodka and orange juice drink that he mixes with the vodka bottle. What are you doing, Jordi? And to top it all off, we get these fantasy sequences where he imagines selling the meteor.
Not a cent less, $200.
Or going to the doctor, and it keeps getting increasingly ridiculous and nonsensical.
This is going to be extremely painful, Mr. Verrill.
But aside from that, this is just Stephen King goofing around for 15 minutes, and I don't know how much cocaine he was snorting in between each take, but it made for one hell of a performance. And you know what? I enjoy it.
No. No, 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 no.
This is one of the more creative segments of the bunch, and I really have a newfound appreciation for this one. Yeah, it's very silly, it's very stupid, but above everything else, it's fun. The premise is fun, Stephen King is fun, and once again, there's plenty of memorable lines and memorable scenes. I gotta mention the fantastic production design here. I love how the house gradually becomes overrun by the alien weeds. At first, the grass is just taller, then it latches onto everything, grows inside the house, on Stephen King's balls.
Oh no, not there!
And at the end, it's everywhere. You can't escape it. Despite its very humorous tone, there's hints of pretty good sci-fi horror in there. Like, it pretty much ends with a grass apocalypse. I mean, you don't see that every day. This one is obviously not for everyone, but I sure enjoyed it.
Meteor ship.
The third Creepshow segment is titled Something to Tide You Over, and it's surprisingly the only punny title of the movie. And right off the bat, we have a great cast here. Ted Danson of Cheers fame.
She's a hooker.
The great Leslie Nielsen, who's been in some of my favorite comedies of all time.
How soon can you land?
I can't tell.
You can tell me, I'm a doctor.
And also, superhero movie. And lastly, Galen Ross, who was in Dawn of the Dead, of course, and who we last saw on this channel in Madman. Remember Madman? Neither do I.
Beep boop, beep boop, beep boop.
I think there was an awkward pool scene at one point.
If you're gonna ask, why is this, why is that?
Yeah, anyway, in this one, Leslie Nielsen finds out his wife has been having an affair with Ted Danson. I mean, who wouldn't?
If I win, I get to go to bed with you.
Now, there are a few possibilities for what he could do in this situation. He could dump his girlfriend and move on. If he's a little unstable, he could show up to his place and beat him up. But instead, he goes for the even simpler option of the bunch, which is to capture his girlfriend and bury her neck deep in the sand, and then capture her lover and force him to do the same, and then bring a TV with the longest extension cord on planet Earth to set up a live broadcast of the woman slowly drowning as the tide is rising, and then leave the guy to suffer the same fate as he watches all of this at home in his James Bond lair for his own entertainment. I mean, I think a gun would have done the job. But this works too, I guess. And it's so much fun for him. Like, this brings him more joy than his relationship with his wife ever did.
It's showtime!
But of course, like any good EC Comics tale, the bad guy has to get his comeuppance. So let's turn these guys into zombies, I guess. Yeah, why not? So this ends with Leslie Nielsen buried up to his neck on the beach with the tide rising. How ironic. Something to Tide You Over is one of the more interesting tales of the bunch, in my opinion. Like, sure, we got zombies, but what really works here is Leslie Nielsen playing this crazy deranged man with the most insane revenge scheme I've ever seen. He's effortlessly charismatic in this one, incredibly evil, but also playful and funny. I think this is my overall favorite performance and character in the movie. I just love this man to death.
Although I will do almost anything I can for a laugh.
Wonderful kinds of humor.
We'll start now, then we'll begin.
Did you hear the starter pistol?
And obviously, the idea of being buried in the sand and slowly drowning, nope, I don't like that. Yeah, this one's great. I love it. Yeah, the fuck? All right, time to talk about everybody's favorite segment, The Crate. And this one's about a crate with a monster in it. Well, at least that's what it is on the surface, but the heart of the story, what The Crate is really about, is a guy who just wants to murder his bitch wife.
Who's that? Oh, Henry, can't you do anything right?
Huh?
Huh?
Yeah, The Crate is just like that guy who constantly complains about his wife to his buddies.
1 minute I got a hot ginger wife and the next I'm married to Ron Weasley.
And when things get really bad, some will opt for a divorce.
I want a fucking divorce!
While others might prefer having her killed by an ancient bloodthirsty creature. You know, it's one or the other. And like I said, everybody loves The Crate. And I love it too, but let me go ahead and drop another fat hot take on you. I think it's a little too long. Just a little bit. This one clocks in at around 40 minutes, whereas the others are usually around 15 to 20 minutes long. The Crate is longer than Leslie Nielsen's extension cord, and as great as it is, there are a few moments that drag just a tiny bit. You got the scene where Dexter is explaining to this guy what happened when they opened the crate, then he explains to his buddy Henry what happened when they opened the crate, then Henry drugs him, then he writes a long-ass letter to his wife Billy asking her to join him at the school, school, and he makes up this convoluted story about how Dexter assaulted one of his students. Then Henry takes his sweet-ass time cleaning the place up so Billy doesn't suspect anything, then spends another 10 minutes trying to get her near the crate. And after that, he comes back to chat with his buddy Dexter and reassures him that the monster is gone for good. Oops. Yeah, it's a little long. Now, I love Fritz Weaver as Dexter. I think he's great. But what if, hear me out for a second, what if you cut him out and Henry is the one who finds the crate? He realizes it could take care of his bitch wife problem, then call Billy, have her killed, and then voila, it's over in about 20 minutes. Same body count, same story, same cliffhanger, none of the fat. No? You hate it? Okay, I'm sorry. That said though, please don't get me wrong, I still love The Crate with all my heart. Like I said, this movie does not have a weaker segment, they're all great in their own way. And this one really showcases Tom Savini's talent as an effects artist, not just for his gore that he's known for, but also for creature effects as well. He even came up with Fluffy's design. Yeah, the monster is named Fluffy, by the way. How cute is that? This little abominable snowman is wonderful, a definite highlight of the movie, of course. But the real standout of The Crate, the main attraction, is obviously Billy.
Oh, just call me Billy, everyone does.
This might just be my favorite Adrienne Barbeau performance. She's unbelievably good at playing this bitchy wife.
I just sort of put myself in George's hands and he kept saying, no, you can go bigger with it, you can go bigger with it. Okay, I'll take a chance.
She's just boozed up and obnoxious, but not in an annoying way. You know, they keep it fun.
Oh, honey, these people are dry. Now take care of them. They don't know what they're doing.
And despite mentioning how Dexter could have been cut for better pacing, I still love these guys' relationship and dynamic. They really feel like old-time best buddies.
There was this kind of wonderfully homoerotic undertone that they kept playing, you know, very subtly in the relationship, which was great.
Oh? You're telling me this guy killed his wife just so he could finally fuck his best buddy? Well, that makes it even better. Overall, The Crate perfectly balances horror and comedy. It has the best and goriest kills of the movie, wonderful creature effects, some of Savini's best work, and an iconic performance from Adrienne Barbeau. And this segment also continues the tradition of having people make the most disgusting looking drinks. You thought vodka and orange juice was a bad drink? Well, try whiskey and milk. Oh god, at least add a little bit of nutmeg in there or something. And not only does she drink that shit, but she does so while driving. Yeah, put the bitch in the crate. Okay, kiddies, we've got time for one last tale of horror for you, and I call this one They're Creeping Up on You. This is one of the shorter segments, and it's very straightforward. This guy Upson Pratt is an Upson prick, just being an asshole to everybody.
You will have no job by midnight tonight, do you understand me? And then next year you can take the wife and kids to Disney World on your fucking welfare check.
While his place is gradually being overrun with cockroaches, until they inevitably get the best of him. Ah, that's nasty. Nasty cockroaches. And that's it. That's literally just it. And you know what? Sometimes simpler is better. Similar to the lonesome death of Jordi Verrill, this is mostly a one-man show, aside for a couple people on the phone, and this silly guy here.
Good evening there, Mr. Pratt.
But otherwise, this is just E.G. Marshall playing this rich germaphobe asshole crushing bugs and telling people to go fuck themselves.
Go out and fuck somebody. But we're a damn rubber. Everybody's got the damn herpes these days.
Now, the metaphor in this one is not very subtle.
How many men have you killed, you monster?
Only the stupid ones. Only the ones who handed me a knife and then stretched out their throats.
Upson Pratt is obviously in the 1%, disgusted by lower class people. He thinks he's on top of everyone, more important than everyone. He's entitled to everything, and money can solve all of his problems. Yeah, basically he's Andrew Tate. So in the end, these people that have been treated so poorly rise up and defeat him. Sure, the metaphor is rather obvious and simple, but that's perfect for a horror short story. It's a classic EC Comics tale of a jerk who gets his comeuppance. They're Creeping Up on You is rather different than the other tales. For one, there aren't any ghouls or monsters or zombies in this one, just nasty ass bugs. It's almost as disgusting as putting raisins in your snack. Yuck! Get that fucking thing out of there! But the segment really sets itself apart with its visuals. Most of the other tales share a similar visual style, fog machine and color gels. There you go, you got it. But this looks different. It looks like almost like an Apple store. It's got this stark, clean white look to it, and it immediately shows what kind of person Upson Pratt is.
Bastards.
Props to the set designer, especially seeing how little time and money they had with this. Creeping Up on You was almost cut from the movie since they had already went over budget, but the set designer said, hold up, let me cook.
Cletus said, I can do the set. It won't cost that much, and it's one actor and a bunch of bugs.
And I'm glad they kept it. It's a great segment and the perfect way to end Creepshow. Just very entertaining, almost as entertaining as hearing the behind-the-scenes anecdotes of the cast and crew. Holy God, it looks like this shoot was a wild mess.
According to them, the roaches live in bat shit, bat guano. You know,
They sent back photographs of them waist deep in roaches.
You know, when cockroaches get nervous, they emit an odor that I can, to this day, I can still smell that odor. Oh, it was terrible.
And those roaches flew over everybody's head. And
Anyway, this was disgusting, and I loved every second of it. Maybe not as spooky as the other stories, but it's wonderful nonetheless, and it's got the single best kill of the movie, so that's nice. Well, this was Creepshow, a movie that I love, obviously. This is the best way to officially kick off spooky season, and you might say, isn't it a little early to celebrate Halloween? To which I would reply, I'm gonna kill you. Creepshow is the kind of movie that feels like it was made specifically for me. I'm a sucker for anthology movies, atmosphere, ghouls, spooks. I love George Romero, I love Stephen King, I love Tom Savini, of course, and I love everybody from the cast, especially Leslie Nielsen. He's so fucking great in this. I obviously give Creepshow a well-deserved 5 birthday cakes out of 5. Now, there was a sequel that we're gonna talk about on this channel very soon, and it's not as great as the first one, but some of the people that worked on the first movie came back for this one, and, you know, it's got its moments, and thankfully, they stopped there. You know, they didn't try to make a shitty sequel 25 years later with nobody from the first 2 movies involved. Can you imagine that? Ugh, that would have been so awful. Oh my God, what is that? What the fuck is that?
Okay.
I wish Creepshow 3 would rot in hell.